We are going to read from the book of Acts, chapter 9, the story about a lady called Dorcas. But before we read, and as we are reading, I would like you to consider in your mind, if your life was summed up in a sentence or two, what would that sentence be? If your life was summed up in a sentence or two, what would that sentence be? So let me read Acts chapter 9, verse 36 to 43, and I'm reading from the New King James Version. The Bible says, "At Joppa, there was a certain disciple named Tabitha, which is translated Dorcas. This woman was full of good works and charitable deeds, which she did. But it happened in those days that she became sick and died. When they had washed her, they laid her in an upper room. And since Lydda was near Joppa, and the disciples had heard that Peter was there, they sent 2 men to him, imploring him not to delay in coming to them. Then Peter arose and went with them. When he had come, they brought him to the upper room. And all the widows stood by him, weeping, showing the tunics and garments which Dorcas had made while she was with them. But Peter put them all out and knelt down and prayed. And turning to the body, he said, 'Tabitha, arise.' And she opened her eyes, and when she saw Peter, she sat up. Then he gave her his hand and lifted her up. And when he had called the saints and widows, he presented her alive. And it became known throughout all Joppa, and many believed on the Lord. So it was that he stayed many days in Joppa with Simon a tanner." We may have our seats. That's the word of the Lord. If your life was summed up in a sentence or two, what would that sentence be? For Dorcas, we get that sentence in verse 36. And the Bible says, "This woman was full of good works and charitable deeds, which she did." And Luke calls Dorcas a disciple. She was a follower of Jesus. And she was known for her good works and charitable deeds, doing kind things to the poor, helping the widows. And she must have been not just a tailor or someone, because when she died, people literally went back to their own homes to bring the stuff that Dorcas had made. So it must have been good. It must have been good things that she had made for them. The pieces were so good that they literally went back to their homes and brought them back to be able to show what Dorcas had done when Dorcas was alive. So Dorcas used her gifts and talents to serve God by serving the poor, the widows, and the community that she was in. She was a disciple who used practical means to reach the needs of the people. And she was such an important part of the community that when she died, it's like things came to a standstill. Let's go look for Peter. Let's go find Peter. And I don't know, I need to confirm, but I think she's the first person raised to life by the disciples after Jesus came back to life. So the community felt like, no, we can't go on living without her. And so they brought Peter, and Peter prayed for her, and she was able, and God raised her back to life. And you're not told that Dorcas was a preacher. You're not told that she was out there doing a lot of speaking. But quietly, in her house, she made the stuff that her community needed. She touched the lives of people who were in need. Her light shone bright in the community where she lived in. James tells us that faith without works is dead. Dorcas believed in Jesus, but her belief was shown out in the works that she did. This woman was full of good works and charitable deeds, which she did. We don't know much else about Dorcas. We don't know about her family. Was she married? Did she have kids? We don't know if she was wealthy. Did she get the material from her own stash of material, or did she go to the wealthier ladies in the community to get materials to make the clothes for the people? We just know that she faithfully used her skills to bless those around her. If your life was summed up in a sentence or two, what would that sentence be? So what do you have? What skills, what gifts has God given you? What has God placed in you that can touch the lives of the people around you? When I was growing up, my dad worked in a hotel in town, and there was a young man that was employed in the hotel as an electrician. And he loved his job. And interestingly, if you had something that was broken in your house, he would come and fix it, and then he would refuse to be paid. He would say, I get a good salary at the hotel, but I love being an electrician. So anything that I do after 5, I don't charge, because it gives me the opportunity to enjoy something that I really love doing. Fixing things brought him joy. Fixing things for others brought him joy. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that you shouldn't get paid for what you do. But there's also room for being a blessing to people using your gifts. And even for when you get paid for what you do. Have you ever been served by a person? Let's say you even go to a restaurant and the waiter made you really happy. The way they talked to you, the way they served, so that even if you are not a tipper, you will tip because of how you have been served. I have a friend who is a printer, and she derives much joy from her work. And she wants to know, were you happy with what I did? And sometimes when I ask her to do something, she gets excited just waiting for me to see it, so that we can rejoice together at what she has done. And sometimes it's something that maybe she's never done before, so she's struggling to do it just right, and you can see the joy on her face when you go to pick up that thing. And it goes beyond, she's not just a printer. She serves, she ministers through the work that she does. He's a man who cooks here for us when we have functions. And Wainaina loves to cook. And we've had people cook for us before. We've gone with him to camp. And usually people will cook for you and then you'll come pick up the food and serve. No, Wainaina doesn't just cook. And he comes and he wants to see, do you like the food? And he'll even come and serve and eat with you just so that you can enjoy the stuff that he's doing. Ministry. We can minister even with the jobs that we do. When you pour yourself into the service that God has given you, it brings joy. I like it when Wainaina cooks. And Wainaina knows that I love chapati. So he'll come and tell me, leta unga nitakupikia za kwenda nazo nyumbani. As in, he will. And even when like the other time he came, I told him, I haven't even finished what you gave me the last time. But he comes to ask, have you finished the chapati I made? Because he loves what he does. Paul in Colossians tells us that whatever you do, work at it with all your heart, as though you're working for the Lord and not men. So how are you ministering to the people around you? How would the people around you describe you? Are you leaving behind a legacy? Will people look back and say, hey, remember that lady? Remember that man? Remember how he blessed us? If your life was summed up in a sentence or two, what would that sentence be? Would people praise like they were praising Dorcas? They praise your good works. Will their lives have been affected? If God calls you home, will people miss you? Are you leaving behind a legacy for future generations? What do you have in your hand this afternoon? What gifts, what skills, what talents, and how can you serve people? Yesterday we read Hebrews where it says, God is not unjust. He will not forget the work that you have done to him as you have served his people. So what gift has God given you to serve him as you serve others? May we all live in such a way that when we meet God, he will tell us, welcome, good and faithful servant.